Hello, my friends. Welcome to another live stream with Rachel and Carrie. I'm Rachel, founder of the Intuitive Art Academy. This is Carrie Roldan, your business BFF. Today we're talking about something I am very excited about, and something Carrie is very excited about and has had recent feelings of, and that is being full of yourself. Being full of yourself. So we're going to get into it. And we're going to just chat as well. I haven't seen Carrie in a few weeks here. Neither have you. She has been away. So we're going to catch up. We're going to get to juicy stuff. If there's anything you want to share, please put it in the chat. I'd love to see it. And so Carrie, tell us about your recent experience. What did you just go through?
Okay, so I was thinking like, oh, I haven't been here in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I had a week of being sick where I was not so full of myself. I kind of believe whenever I'm sick, like I'm in some sort of resistance, right? Which I know, Rachel, often has to do with stepping into the fullness of myself. So I was sick for a week. And then I had a retreat that if you are on my email list or you're following me on social media, you probably already saw that I was also resisting this retreat, even though I love it. I go every year. I go as part of a team of people who is putting on the retreat. And part of that, though, is we get to spend some time before we're facilitating a retreat for other people. We get to spend some time pampering ourselves and just basking in the energy of each other. And it was really fun for me. This is a team of people that I've put together. And some of them, it was the first time that we had met in person. So at least one of these people I've known for 7 years. And this was the first time like we physically saw each other. And that's always super fun for me, like recognizing I'm always like, I can't wait to like meet you in person. And then knowing like it's actually no different. Like I already know them really well. But anyways, so I had this retreat that I had the privilege of being part of the team of people that it was putting it on. And I got to show up. My favorite thing, as you all know, is to show up and be awesome. And I got the opportunity to do that in that there were moments. So part of what I got to do at this retreat was I got to open up the retreat with my future self visualization, which is like amazing for me to do and super powerful for people to experience. And then the woman who was really in charge of leading the retreat, she was providing a lot of content. And I was providing a lot of supplementary content, a lot of Carrie magic, a lot of like taking what was presented and bringing it like into the bodies of the people who were there, or being able to. So one of the themes in my life right now is perspective. And so really helping people see that thing from a perspective that helped them feel good about it or help them land it, or most importantly, help them feel empowered by it. Like, okay, I can do that. But it was, and then one of the other things that I was responsible for was a breakout session. And my breakout session was on creating a culture of success on your team. And even in my breakout sessions were small enough that I didn't actually have to prepare because I know this really well. It was more about having a conversation with the people that were there and where are they and how can we do this right now? How can we help you right now do this? And what happened was effing magic from beginning to end. And what I recognized was because it was about an opportunity for me to showcase isn't quite the right word, but like I did feel like I was definitely like had like, woohoo, I get to like be here and do my awesome stuff. But just to be full of myself, to live fully in my gifts, to be fully expressed, without any sort of filtering of myself. So this is obviously the result of all kinds of work that I've done over the years. But the thing is, I didn't like the idea of going to this retreat is always something I resist. Like, I got to move out of my regular life. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my kids for a few days. I got to make sure that the dogs are taken care of. I got like, there's all the reasons why, like, I don't actually want to do it. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, I freaking love me. I love experiencing myself in this way. I love when I get to do this stuff. And it's like a super big bonus when other people get to receive me and get to be lit up by that. But really is way more about like me taking a minute to be full of what lights me up, to get to talk about the things that feel important and powerful and moving, like just to show up and be awesome was effing fantastic. And of course, the content of the retreat was really good. And I got anytime you teach or lead anything, at least I do, I always come home like up leveled and transformed. And this was no exception. But yeah, that's what I got to do. So I had this amazing retreat that I really didn't want to go to, that I'm so grateful that I did. And because it was all about just channeling myself. And that's rad.
Yes. Hi, Dale. Hi, Guillaume. Hi, Sandra. We're glad you're here too. Carrie. This is one thing that I really want to highlight today. It is that Carrie's body didn't want to go to this retreat, even though she was literally being paid to be there. But her intuition said yes. And so sometimes, we always talk about this idea of like, how do you know if it's a no or a yes? It's make it a point to ask your intuition, because you might have some resistance here, but it's like, no, this, your intuition is going to share with you what is most beneficial, especially when it's something that has like stakes like this, like these up-leveling stakes, we're often going to be afraid of it. So
Rachel, though, what's so interesting about that and my body not wanting to go and my body kind of wanting to go. So was like, I had the experience of knowing like, listen, every year I resist this and every year I'm glad I went. Right. So I had that experience. So there's a little bit of that to rely upon. And also I had a conflict that this at the same time that I really, really, really did not want to miss. Right. So there was something else that was like pulling me, saying like, I really, listen, I'm going to make choices in alignment with my priorities and this is a big priority for me. And I don't want to make choices just based on if I'm being paid to be there. Right. Like there was all of that going. But when I checked in, it was like, nope, go. And I knew ahead of time that being there was part of this. I knew because I checked in intuitively. Going was important to me. It didn't mean that I resisted any less, by the way. Mm-hmm. But like I had a knowing that is where I'm going to need to be. And the conflict that I had was also a place where I get to show up in my amazingness. It's also a place where I get to empower, like other people get to experience me and feel empowered and uplifted. And like, they felt equally important. And so checking in was super important, knowing like, I don't have to listen. You kept saying intuition and pointing here, but I feel like this was getting in my way. I actually had to listen here.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny that I was pointing at my head, but I think like having the awareness enough to ask your intuition is what I meant by that. And as we'll talk about today, getting full of yourself, it does start here because it starts with you inhabiting yourself. And one of the things I've been doing a lot is Jim Self's technique of getting into the center of your head, which we've done at our Aligned Up levels. I talk about Jim's tools all the time If you are not familiar with him, go to masteringalchemy.com. Join his level 1. It's like $125. It gives you so many tools to talk about and communicate and to practice what we're going to do today, and beyond. Very helpful. Amazing person. Love him. I've interviewed him several times. He's just a doll. So what are we talking about? So Carrie, when you said and you got back, like, I felt so full of myself, what does that mean to you? Because I said in our email today, like, do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing to be full of yourself? Because I think in general, we hear that and we're like, oh, nobody wants to be that person. Nobody wants to know that person. That person is an arrogant, selfish jerk, right? So how are we approaching this?
Yeah, well, so I learned this from you. And the best way that I can explain it is you would say, like, it doesn't mean being full of yourself. It means being full of yourself. So that is what we're talking about. It doesn't mean being an arrogant jerk. I think when we talk about someone being full of themselves, what we're really saying is they think they're better than everyone else, right? That they think that they know more than you, that they think that they're better than you. Like, there's, like, at least when I am judging someone for being full of themselves, that's what I mean. Like, yeah, arrogant jerk
That's a really interesting place to come from too, because we want to think that we are better, but not better than anyone else. Just, we want to think that we're the authority of ourselves. We want our opinions to be the ones that we rely upon, right? We don't want to live in self-doubt. We don't want to have to consult everyone we know before we make a decision. We want to feel capable of knowing ourselves and to choosing. And of course, we want to be open-hearted and open-minded, but we need to maintain that sense of who we are and listen with discernment to get anything valuable from the outside world. So, we have, oh, go ahead.
No, you just got a yawn out of me.
We have energetic structures, our aura, right? Our chakras that provide almost like a container, or you could even say a barrier between others and us. And if you think about how far our aura extends out, it's like we're a big creature, even though we're not really giving ourselves much credit for that. And not only that, multidimensionally, we are gigantosauruses, right? Like, holy cow, we're huge. And the idea of just allowing ourselves to exist in this way, to hold our energy, right? To be full, to have, right? Just imagine like your whole energy field filling up with you. First of all, it's going to make you feel a lot more comfortable in this world, a lot more capable, and so much more. But like, it's also going to give you the sense that what you're doing and what you want is okay. You're going to feel empowered. You're going to feel like the world is supporting you because so much of your immediate world is you. So, like, being full of yourself just means you've relaxed enough to let you be here. And it feels very different than having an outside perspective and putting yourself out there. You know what I mean?
I do. I totally get you. Mm-hmm. And the way that I talked about it when I was like in the introduction, when I said like I channeled myself. Mm-hmm. The idea of channeling myself, which for me means removing parts of my personality that I've put in the way, like my defense mechanisms or my insecurities, right? When I'm really full of myself, I am channeling the fullness of my true self, of that connection to my higher self, right? I'm embodying that and not sort of my learned personality, insecurities, defense mechanisms, keeping myself small, like all of that, because I'm too busy. I'm too busy like fully embodying the awesomeness there's no room for like the small defensive personality that I've constructed. And that isn't to say that my personality isn't amazing and charming and, but like there's certain things in all of our personalities that we've put there because of what other people said to us, not because they were in alignment with our truth. And so being full of yourself is like, there's no room for those parts of your personality that are there that were put there by someone else. Does that make sense?
Yes. And, studying personality was one of my favorite parts of college. And it's interesting because, I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Sedona method. Do you remember Gay? No, Gay Hendricks is a different dude. He's the big leap dude. I don't remember his name, but he had this analogy where, like, you may be carrying something with you, like this parts of your personality that Carrie's talking about that are, you know, reactions of things that have happened to us, let's say. And so we're carrying it around, but we don't need to. We can just drop them. They're not us. They're not ours. Hail Dwoskin. Yes, Guillaume. Thank you so much. Of the Sedona method. He sold that, by the way, and he's been not in the scene for a long time, but very interesting guy. And so what I want to share about this is like the parts of you that are rigid, the parts of you that feel small or afraid or doubting, like that's not even you. You could say it's part of your personality, but then you're implying ownership of that. And I wouldn't even go that far. I would just, you are a pure, positive being who's unlimited. And we all have these boulders around us, but your higher self doesn't see them. Your higher self doesn't acknowledge them. And so that's why sometimes when we have a yes to a situation that feels scary, our higher self doesn't care if we're scared. It's a yes. It's not anything else. Like you asked for something and here is the next step to getting it. And so I just want to really tell you, in case you need to hear it from me, that there is nothing in your way. And that idea of being too full of yourself or too big for your britches, or who are you to do any of this stuff that you want to do, is like, yeah, who are you to do it? You're here to do it. That's why you put yourself in a body right now. None of that doubt matters. None of that's really you. None of that is anything of importance at all. And by being embodied in you, all of that dissipates. Not all at once, but much more rapidly than if you were to just ignore it. So, back to the gym self thing, he's got this technique called being in the center of your head. And you basically just put your awareness in the center of your head. That's it. It's really simple. And I can feel it when I do it. Let's do it together. And then please go to his site too, masteringalchemy.com, for more information on this, because I'm just going to give you the 3-minute version. So if you put your fingers at your temples and draw a line through, right? So it's like, it's not totally in the center, right? It's like right here behind your eyes. And then you go back through your like third eye, right between your eyes. That spot, it's like probably right down there, right? Put your awareness there. So if you close your eyes, even, you can do it probably better. There's a dot between your temples and in back of your third eye, and just move your awareness back to that place. You can even move your eyes back to that place. And when you do it, you'll probably yawn. You'll probably take a deeper breath because you're in your body. And when you've done that, you almost feel like a little like, ah, a little click. You can open your eyes. There's a yawn. See, we're watching Carrie do this. Thank you. And there you are. Here we are, present moment in our bodies. And let's feel our aura now. Move your hands through your aura. You can feel the resistance now. You feel the soupiness a little bit. It's very subtle, but feel yourself. We were doing this on a coaching call the other day where we were combing out our auras because we were at an energetic spa. You can imagine yourself combing out that aura and you can feel how good it feels. Oh, that feels so good, right? Are you making it up? Are you playing pretend? No, you're not. You are feeling your own energy. And this is you. You are a massive, energetic, powerful being, and you deserve to be that. You chose to be that. You chose to come here and do all the fun things that you ever thought you wanted to do. And so, this idea of being full of yourself is about empowering yourself enough that you feel confident and capable of making mistakes and trying things out and being in the world and being a part of everything and succeeding and doing all the things that are available to us here. So it's not about perfection. It's not about being arrogant. It's not about anything other than you experiencing yourself. So I'm feeling a little bit more full of myself at this point. How about you?
Well, yeah, and that's what I want. So Rachel and I have like talked, but not really talked in a while because I was sick and then I was gone. We've been like, little messages here and there, but this is what I want to know because I know that not just that you're feeling more in yourself right now, but that you've been feeling into yourself as well over the past few weeks. And so I'm super curious and like, how is this for me? It's manifesting in being more bold, being more decisive, being more certain of like, yep, I'm doing this. Hey, this is what we're going today. Hey, I'm gonna get to show up and like, I'm just more like less wishy-washy and just bolder, braver, more confident, more powerful, and showing up as myself. And creating some really cool stuff because of that. What's up with you? How have you been showing up in the fullness of yourself?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I was talking to Carrie earlier on a Marco Polo, and I think there was something specific I was going to share with her about how I've been more full of myself, but it's totally gone now. So I think all I'll say is like I've really been spending time deliberately in the center of my head, and it's been pushing out, right? All those things that we've talked about that aren't me. And I just feel similar. I feel more decisive. I feel um more ownership of my wants and desires, and knowing that if I want something, that it's right for me. And you know, Carrie and I are on this perpetual upward journey, right? And we know things, and then we know things, and then we really know things, and then we know things. And it's just like one of those moments for me as well. It's like I'm more settling into myself and feeling capable and seeing all the things I've done in my life come together in this beautiful thread and allowing myself to move in the direction of that. And I think maybe the biggest thing that has shifted is like, I always do what I want. I always do only what I love. But I also notice at times where I shy away from being a good receiver, and um, and where I I spend a lot of time consuming other people's content and like having these like buffers in my day. Some people would call it distraction. I think distraction is good and helpful. But I'm also noticing like whenever I go through one of these things, I have more time for me. I need less distraction to keep me in a certain vibration. Like I'm more flowing with myself. I'm more present and less reactive to others' emotions. And there's just a whole slew of things that are happening. So I'm a better receiver, yay. I'm better at being myself around anyone else, yay. Mm, Things are showing up for me that are what I've been asking for, yay. It just, everything's better. Everything always gets better and better and better and better and better and better and better. And I've been saying that for a decade. So you know it keeps working.
Oh, you got me to yawn as soon as I unmuted. Um, yes. Yes, for everything is getting better and better. I had a similar experience. And these simple techniques, right? This gym self technique of like landing in the center of your head. It's so funny how even as long as we've been on this journey, like while I was on this retreat and while I knew I was in the right place, and while I definitely had like resistance even after I got there, and like there was an old story playing itself out, and like I felt very torn and conflicted. Like, here I am at this beautiful place surrounded by these amazing people getting to live in my gifts. And then there was a story about another part of my life that was like, why does this person have to blah, blah, blah? Like there was like some shit that was in there that I like totally had to remember, stop. This is me, right? And I am creating this. What tools do I have? Right? How can I shift my energy around this? And what did I do? I sat and I meditated. I did the dot in the middle of my head. I had the experience of being really frustrated in my meditation. There were like bugs everywhere and I like couldn't get comfortable, and it took a minute. Like it took, anyways. But so what I wanted to say is like, even in the channeling of myself, there was also stuff that was ready to go. There was stuff that came up. There was stuff in there. I don't know why I'm saying this now. This wasn't where I meant to go, but here I am. And so I had to use those. I got to use those techniques to be in that aura, right? To be able to find the energetic soup that is me. And then even more amazing shit happened and stuff got better and better and better. But I guess that's what I wanted to point out is like, it's always getting better and better and better. And Rachel talks a lot about like, we don't have to go looking for our blocks. They'll find us when they're ready to go. And that totally happened for me. So I came home from this retreat, which I probably had to be somewhere else. I had to remove myself from this environment to be able to experience the contrast that was going on. And then make the choice to be me, to live in my own energy, to let it go, and came home a whole new level of me. And exactly happier, better and better and better, like totally optimistic, feeling like driving around being like, man, I'm so happy. I have the best life. Things just keep getting better, right? Which sometimes have to be very deliberate practices for me, but not recently, right? Recently, it's like, yeah, feel up leveled, more full of myself. But I know where you started, Rachel, was to say things keep getting better and better and better and better. And the answer is yes.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more thing about that before we get to these awesome comments. And that yes, things keep getting better and better and better and better, but sometimes, all the time, you don't know how good it can be. I have a friend who has thought that she wanted to maybe look into another career and like go back to school and be a counselor. But she is one who tends to be a little bit lower in mood, and kind of is just like putting up with what she has now in terms of a job, and can't see the good that could come from going back to school and doing what she really wants to do. All she sees is the obstacles in the way and the fact that there will be headaches wherever she goes, right? Which is true, of course. So the thing is, she's going to continue to put up with the headaches that she has now, even though there isn't a fulfilling part of that, right? It's a linear exchange. Go to work, get money, go home, live the rest of her life. And when you follow the direction of your intuition, though, it's maybe not immediate that you get that big payoff, but if you follow through on the little path that your higher self puts out for you, what you get is so much more than you could have imagined before you started. It is a multidimensional carnival of reward for following through. Why? Because with each step, you are allowing yourself to fill up. So that when you are getting there, when you're walking that path, this is filling in, and this is filling in, and this is filling in, and this is filling in. And you get there, and the door's wide open. You're like, oh my God, I'm here. I feel so good. I'm so glad I came. Like what happened to Carrie. There's so many times it's happened to me. And I just want to point that out, because sometimes you're in a place where you're not used to trusting yourself. You're not used to following through on your intuition. Other people in your life are saying, don't do that. Why are you going to waste your time doing that? Blah, 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 blah. And so you're not set up like we are to know that the outcome is going to be incredible. And maybe you know in your mind, but you're like, oh, there's so many obstacles. I should just stay where I'm at, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you live there. There's more of you there than there is here sometimes. And again, that's okay. But I just want to point that out, that like there are so many reasons to follow your intuition, and you often cannot access them from the energy that you're in now. The intuitive nudge to go there is all you've got. And stories from people like us, but like really take that seriously. If you have a nudge, if it keeps coming up over and over and over again, make some steps, see what happens, see what fills in for you. You might not be able to jump your way over to that, but make some things. Some step is available to you right now. Take that and see where it goes. It's really, really worth it.
I just want to say these words back to you because they were glorious, and I feel like they belong on like an email title somewhere. So, excuse me. You said a multi-dimensional carnival of reward. I was like, that's good. Those are some good words. Who doesn't want that? A multi-dimensional carnival of reward. And I have a very specific story about this. So, and it's interesting. I'm going to cough again.
Let it out. See, this is the churn. This is it.
I realized too, like right before we started, I'm like, I have everything I need. I don't. I need water. So actually, talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into some of these comments. So, I love Dale. You are processing in the moment, sharing clearer and more confident, luxuriating in beingness. Yes, yes, yes. Sandra, amazed and curious. That is a great place to be. Curious is one of my favorite gateway feelings. Dale is saying, yes, sometimes the buffer feels needy, and other times it's synchronous and uplifting along the path. Yeah, and wherever you are is okay. You know, it's okay to need a break. It's okay to need to laugh. It's okay to need a nap. All those things are okay. Cool that you could see and get out of the story, Carrie. Yeah.
Yes, right. And by the way, the story that I was in, I've been in this story. I've been in and out of the story a lot of times in my life. And so it is helpful to recognize when you see it, like, oh, crud, here you are again. What do I want to be true? What do I want to be true? Okay. But I have a story about, I don't know, whatever the heck we were just talking about not seeing. So the person that you were talking about, I have 2 clients right now who actually are just going through something similar. So it's like not a coincidence that we're having this conversation. And I too, like, went through this, and I've shared it a little bit on here. Rachel is intimately acquainted with my journey on, I was a high school cross country and track coach who stopped being a high school cross country and track coach and was like, how am I going to make real money with my gifts and talents and whatever? And became a life coach and then a business coach, and like went on my online business journey and all of that. And of course, one of the best things I found about coaching in the online space was like, oh, this is what I've been doing. Like, I didn't know this was a thing. This is what I've already been doing. And so that was cool. And somewhere in my online coaching journey, I realized, oh, you know what I've always done? I've always created like a culture of success. Like, wherever I go, I bring people together and we create success together. Like, I'm really good at that. And I tried like deliberately to do that, and it kind of like fizzled, but then I just like let it happen, and there we were. But here's the point of the story, is that several years ago, I kept getting like nudges, and like every psychic person I talked to was like, there's something with you and coaching. And I was like, no, like coaching high school. And I was like, no, that does not fit into my plan. That is not part of how I'm going to become a millionaire. There's no money there. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. And yet I had this call, this like need, this desire. Like, I had a hard time for a while making like, I'm a high school cross country coach part of my identity. Like, I felt like that doesn't need to be part of my identity. I'm so much more than that. I'm so much bigger than that. And that is all true. And that really wanted to be a part of my identity. And then it showed up in my life again. And I resisted the crap out of it. And I turned it into like a big, hairy deal. And I made it hard, and I made it like, I did all the things to like keep it out of my life. I really wanted it, but I had huge resistance to what it would be in my life. Or I felt like I can't, or I couldn't see the how, or that doesn't make sense with my goals. And every time I would like get honest with myself, check in with myself, it was like, do this, be there, do it. Like, and over the course of a couple of years, it like unfolded that turns out it was pretty easy for me to do it and be there. Turns out like leaning into that led to so much amazingness, led to so much more of remembering myself. So like led me to exactly where I am now and exactly where I'm headed. And so the point of that story is just like your friend who's like, I want to do this, but it doesn't make sense. Like, or it's not practical, or maybe it's a lateral move, or like that. For me, it seemed like a massive step backwards. Like, it seemed like doing what was safe and comfortable instead of like, there was all sorts of story around it. But the truth was like, it was, if I really listened, it was what my soul was aching to do. It was what was on the path for me. And what I think we do as humans, and Rachel and I make a point to always say, yes, and right, is that I had turned my life into like a series of either or scenarios. And by leaning into what my intuition was calling me to, I opened up a great big and. I opened up a massive and I'm not done with that. And by the way, like, coaching high school has been incredibly rewarding and fulfilling and continues to be. And I continue to grow and expand to that role and like discover more and more of my own awesomeness in that role. But that doesn't have to be it. And I think that is like, that's the point. The point is follow your intuition, go where it leads you, and trust that your higher self knows the bigness of your dreams and where you want to go. And it wouldn't lead you down a small path. Just wouldn't. So that's my personal story of leaning into where I wanted to go in the first place and not fighting it with my head. Since I have made the choice, right? Since I have leaned back into coaching high school, which, in case you guys are wondering, my big story around that was like, but it doesn't pay. It doesn't make sense. There's no money in it. I mean, it pays like this much.
And
But
you already had a full life.
yeah.
You were already busy.
Yes, I was already busy, but my life has totally arranged itself around my being able to do it in a way that feels good and rewarding, and like has personally for my family has brought some of the like closeness and connection that I had hoped for and wanted in my family, which I thought it would be prohibitive to that, right? I thought it would like be the opposite of that, but also you know, what has happened because I lean into that, because I was in the energy of that, is like my monthly business income has doubled. Like, you know what I mean? Like some really other great stuff.
Yes, every area of your life was enhanced by you following through with that. And
You
it
know,
also, it forced you to just show up and be awesome because it's all you had time to do.
yes.
And you
Which is
make
what
more
I
money
wanted.
now. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. I just had a client do that where we were in it. Like we were in it. We were talking about what she wants. And she was like talking about her life. And then she's like, and like, but I'd have like a lot more clients. And I was like, okay. And I sort of felt the like, not the truth in that. And then she talked a little bit more and she was like, well, I mean, my future self only has 2 clients a month. And I was like, what? Hold up. Want a lot more clients, only want 2 clients a month. Like, where's the and it anyways turned out to be this huge empowered journey of leaning into the way she actually wants to show up in her business, but felt like you can't do that. That's not how it works. Like, yeah. So anyways, I don't know where we're going with that, but there's some story there.
I do, because when you are full of yourself, those decisions are so much easier to make. Because the gap between where you are and where your higher self is nil. You are your higher self. You are embodied. It's the decisions are clear. It's easy. You see your path forward. It's much easier to take those steps because you have the energy to do them because you are one with your higher self and the energy bank is full. Yeah.
I feel like now's an amazing time to plug your upcoming virtual retreats.
Yeah. So obviously this all requires practice and it requires focus, right? Focus to get in that place, focus to build up some endurance in that place, and some coaching to be able to discern everything. Because what also happens when you get full of yourself is that everything that's not you becomes visible. And that can really derail people if they're not knowing how to deal with that. So I offer coaching to help with this in many ways. Carrie and I both have a coaching group that is highly valuable. We have 3 calls a month. We have a group chat. We have behind the scenes videos. We have basically any course that could help you in where you are right now in your life or business that is available to you. And we are showing up every month to help you through that. intuitiveart.com/membership. Very, very worth it. Open up the door. It's that multi-dimensional carnival of rewards. Just do it. Just do it. Right? We're here to help you with that. And also, if you want a more focused, private connection with you and your dreams, let me help you get up to speed with what's going on with you so that you can see that clarity of vision that you already have. But maybe you're swimming in doubt. Maybe you're swimming in, I don't know, maybe you're swimming in somebody else's version of what you should be. That sucks. So I have a virtual private retreat happening right now. I don't even know if I have an easy link to that, but it's in the email that I've sent you in the last few weeks. Just go to the bottom. It's called Past, Present, Future. And I'll put the link in the chat here for you. But consider that also an acceleration of you realizing, being able to open that door of your rewards, your multidimensional, every area of your life uplifted at the same time because you decided to step into you. So, what we do is so powerful because we're just like giving you the keys to your own car. Like you already have the keys, you can find them yourself, but often it's a lot easier if someone just like, hey, this is how you work, this is how it goes, this is, we see intuitively where you're wanting to go, what is going to be unlocked for you. Are you seeing that? Don't get distracted by that. It's really fun to be the coach because you are the amazingly awesome thing we're focusing on. And we're just helping you see how amazingly awesome and farther along than you think you are. You are. So that is what coaching can do. It's just accelerating you, like lining up with you and joining where you really are in this journey. Because you think you're back there, but we know you're right here. And that's a fun thing to do. So I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, you got me yawning. This whole time, Rachel, I have been like yawning and coughing and doing all the things. So, which is good. Which is really, really good. Hold on one sec. I'm just feeling like there's someone watching. I'm not sure if you're now or on the recording, but there's a little bit of there's a strong pull to come join us, and there's a story that is wanting you to stop. And like there's a story, there's something going on. And one of the things that I love about working with Rachel is that there's never any fear of loss. There's never any, right? There's always, it's right for you at exactly the time that it is right for you. But I'm just getting like, I keep getting like this yawning. So there is one of you, maybe more, but there's definitely one of you watching right now that just like feels so strongly the pull to do this retreat with Rachel or come join us in our groups. And there's a story going on in there. And so I just really want to encourage you to drop into the center of your head and then drop into the center of your body. And then ask yourself, is this what's most beneficial for me right now? And then listen to the response that comes up in your body. And Rachel did this for me one time before I ever worked with her, when I was just like looking at purchasing one of her programs. And she didn't do it personally. She did it on a video. And she said, if you feel that little uplifting, that little yes, you feel maybe a smile here, maybe an opening here, and then you feel fear, don't worry. The fear is just the story you're telling yourself. Listen to that opening. Listen to that smile. That's your yes. So, yeah, I just felt like there's someone who needed that little nudge, that little reminder. You are a yes. So come on in. Nothing bad will ever come from listening to your intuition.
Now you're making me yawn.
I'm just knowing like there's somebody right now sitting on the fence telling themselves a story, really wanting to do it. And like there's some internal battle going on. And I just want to say, put down the battle. You already know what you want to do. Come join us. It'll be clear. Just like me and going to that retreat. Like I knew it was where I wanted to be. And I made it this whole thing. But going there was important and life-changing and helped me show up in a whole new way and catch up with myself. And that's what we're talking about here. So do it.
Yeah, Sandra's saying, that was me.
Well, then good. And welcome, Sandra.
And she had a great comment here. So she's saying, that's so cool. Your life was full and you could expand it. Life arranged itself around it. I love that. It encourages me.
And I want to tell the story of that if we have a little bit of time, which is I looked at I can't do this right now in my life. I have a child in high school, a child in junior high, and a child in elementary school, and I cannot show up. I was very much black or white, all or nothing. I can't be a great coach and a great parent at the same time. I can't show up as the coach that I want to be and also be there to pick my kids up from school, and so there was like this seemingly real barrier. But what showed up instead was an opportunity to show up once a week, an opportunity, and then twice a week. And then, right. And as like, it started smaller than I thought it needed to, right. So, which was perfect because then I could tell myself the story. Well, I'm not really coaching. I'm just sort of helping out. Well, right. Like it unfolded beautifully until I got to the place where, holy crap, I'm doing this like 100%. And it works for my family now. You know, my oldest was still in high school. My youngest was also a high schooler, or my middle was also a high schooler. And oh my gosh, we get to coach their team. That's amazing. And when I say we, my husband and I as well. And the little one, suddenly her schedule worked itself out. And my mom, like, she got special time with grandma, and she got to be at practice and feel like one of the big, and be helpful, and feel like she gets like this connection with her parents where she gets to be a part of what we're doing. And it just turned into something that I never thought it would be. But it didn't happen like I was like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm doing it 100%. It started with one day a week, and then a couple days a week. And then actually COVID happened. And so I got to show up as like, when COVID happened and the world shut down, I was like, I was already doing business online and on Zoom. I feel like the world doesn't even remember a time when everyone wasn't on Zoom, but like everyone wasn't on Zoom. And I was able to be like, hey, there's no practice for the next 2 weeks while the world shuts down and this virus goes away. But here's a link. We're going to meet as a team here tomorrow. And that COVID is what started me being able to recognize I can show up every day. I can do it my way. And yeah. So what I'm saying, Sandra, is that, or Sandra, whichever one you are, is that I just had to lean into it, and my life rearranged itself, but it didn't happen in one fell swoop. It happened in a way that was like relaxed and comfortable. And it happened in the amount that I was able to let in, as it always does.
Yeah, because don't forget that you create your life. And if you are living your life right now with all these excuses of why you can't do what you want to do, that's going to be your truth. It's going to feel very real. It will feel so real. I absolutely cannot do this because of blah, blah, blah. But once you decide to step beyond that, even just beyond one of those excuses, your life opens up a little bit more, and more resources come in, more time comes in, more help comes in, more ideas come in, more relaxation comes in, more full of yourself comes in, and you realize, oh, these are losing a little bit of their glue too. So I stepped beyond one excuse, but I'm kind of seeing the flaw in these other ones. And so it just gets easier and easier to add more and more of you to your life, because those excuses aren't even you. And I'm not even shaming excuses. I've got plenty of excuses still working in me too. But it's just amazing that when you start trusting yourself, of course your life changes, because you create your life. You create your life. And whatever, like Carrie was saying, what do you want to be true? Because that can be your truth, because right now you're just choosing the truth that's in front of you. But if you want a different truth, you get to have that too. And it's fabulous.
Amen to that. And yes, amen to you, Sandra. I don't know which one it is. Yes, Rachel, she says, yes, Rachel, this opening up, I so often forget this. I need to remind myself more. That's why you're here.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. I am often getting the nudge to soften. And I feel like in the last few weeks, I've been able to do that so much more in much accelerated way because of the focus I've put on it. So really, wherever your focus goes, you get, right? That's how the law of attraction works. It's not a mystical, like universal personality that decides who gets what. It's like, it's just physics. It's just physics. What you put your attention on, you get more of. So, yeah. Okay. So Sandra is German, and she doesn't mind if you say Sandra or Sandra. Beautiful.
Well, I will tell you then, Sandra or Sandra. I just watched a whole show in German. I don't speak German at all, but there were subtitles. But I was on Netflix. There was a show that was intriguing to me, and then I watched the whole show in German. And then, like by the end, I felt like I speak a little German. I totally understand this. I love that.
Excellent. Well, I don't know if this makes a difference to anyone here, but did you know that in my intuitive art certification, we have our class book and our materials for teaching in German, Spanish, French, and English. So if you want to teach in your home country, in your native language, we have that available in several languages, which is very cool. So, I mean, Carrie, I thought you were going to bring us to the end with your story, but it was actually quite short. So here we are.
We can still end it.
Well, I just want to tell everyone that if you didn't, so yesterday I sent an email with a video that includes a message from Intimate Alien. And if you didn't see that, please watch it, because she is amazing at communicating where we are and where she sees that we really, really are. That's kind of what the theme for today is, catching up with yourself, right? I love her way of explaining our potential and our power and our intent for living this life. And so it really inspired me, and it'll probably inspire you. I got a lot of messages today about people resonating with that, especially if you have felt yourself kind of tapping yourself on the wrist or the hand for having shiny object syndrome. I really don't like that. I think many people are multi-passionate, multi-enthusiasts, and you have the capacity to enjoy everything that you love. And I love how she kind of reframes that idea in that video. So go check it out.
So, Rachel, I loved that video, and I believe in shiny object syndrome. So, but I think of it differently. I think that shiny object syndrome, at least when it shows up in like our businesses, we do it when we come from a disempowered place, when we think like, I don't have what I need. Maybe I need that thing. I don't have what I need. Maybe I need that thing. So it's not always like, sometimes so I believe in it. I think that it's a very real thing. And I love the way Intimate Alien says, like, you don't have it. So
yeah. But I also think, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I know for me, there have been things that I've done in my life from that place of need or desperation or I'm not good enough that were still part of my path of least resistance. And I think because Intimate Alien doesn't see our flaws, I just love the idea that you can trust yourself no matter what. I just love that. And I know that sometimes it's going to lead us in a little bit of a tailspin, you know, but I think that that's okay. I think it's okay because we're always going to get something out of somewhere. And yeah, maybe that person has the capability with coaching to stand firm and be in themselves and have the confidence to launch right then and there, right? Or do whatever they really want to do. But sometimes we're going to go through that little tailspin and gain more, and we're just going to be able to use it at a later date too. So I don't think we're ever really wasting time, but I know what you're talking about. And I also know what Intimate Alien's talking about. And I really, you know, the moment I really started getting somewhere in my business was when I decided that I can just trust myself. It doesn't matter. I don't have to figure out where I'm coming from. I don't have to blah blah blah. I'm just gonna trust myself, and it really it worked for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. All right, Dale. Love the reminder that we can enjoy everything we love. Oh, doesn't that feel so right? That feels so right to me. So relaxing. Yeah. And yes, Rachel, forgiving and loving oneself is like the gate to ease and peace. You guys are making me want to take a nap. I love these feelings so much. Yes. 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 Do only what you love. Yeah. And oh, we're over time. Look at that. We did it. Well, this was a great call. I really love these. Thanks for catching up with us. Thank you for coming, Sandra and Guillaume and Dale and all of the rest of you who are listening. We love you, and we'll see you next week. And do check out our retreat and coaching group.
Love you guys.
Bye.